So welcome to Exploring Art Mediums. Tonight we're going to be doing a fall pumpkin. And then I put in your bags little ingredients for decorating it later on. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and mix our colors and pour it. And I have a dry one so that I will be able to show you how to decorate it afterwards. So let me switch my camera to the camera that shows. Okay, so all of you have this one, and this has paint on the back, but I'm just going to go ahead and pour it again. I didn't want to waste another pumpkin because it ended up being a popular class. So let me explain about our paint cups right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these different colors and we're going to open up the lids. And if they're a little thick, they can be a little thick because they've got the oil in them. All these colors do. But if yours is like not moving at all, like see this purple, it's hardly even pouring. So I'm just going to take a bit of water and thin that out. Just a tad, just a few drops. In fact, that might be too much. No, this is pretty thick. This purple dried up a lot. So go ahead and take the lid off all your paint cups and check the consistency of them, okay? The other thing that we need to do is I need for you to stir them too. So, well, we don't have to stir it. We're gonna keep them mixed because some of these paints came with purple and pink mixed together. Now see, my orange has completely separated. So that definitely needs stirring. So go ahead and look at all your paints. Now, how we make pouring acrylics different than just regular craft paint or acrylic paint is that I have thinned these out with a product called Flotrol. Let me go get the bottle and show you guys. It is like if you were to do, you know how you look at fine woodwork and it's so smooth and you don't see any brush strokes or anything? Usually the professional painters will use this on the final coat to make the paint smooth on your woodwork. So it's called Flotrol, and it just is a thinner, but it's latex based and it washes out. And you can get that at Home Depot. But you can also, if you're just doing a small project, you can also use just white Elmer's glue. I know that sounds odd, but you can thin your paint half white glue and half paint and still get the same effect. But what makes all the dots appear, let me see if it really shows. I kind of smooth these dots out. Let me look at this one. I don't know if you can you see these little dots right here? So the way those dots are made is we add silicone oil to it. Just like the same silicone that you might use for your machine oil for your sewing machine. And that's in a little tin kind of container from Home Depot also. And what that oil does, it disperses and it creates bubbles. And when you blow on it, it makes bubbles. And so it's kind of fun to see and we really can't control a lot what goes on here. As you can see, I took my tongue depressor and smoothed lines in it afterwards a little bit because I wanted more of that the pumpkin shape. So I did and then after I poured this one, I went ahead and poured it again in these stripes and then left it. And that made it. But the fun is the pouring. And so what I want you to do is look at this cup of orange. You're only going to pour half of it in, okay? And same with the white. because we're going to save that because you may want to use some of it later. And so we don't want to use it all up right now. So how did you guys find your paints? Are they ready to go? I think this white might be a little thick.
All of mine were good, Debbie.
Are they? They're not separated or anything?
The green was a little bit, and I just gave it a little mix, but the others were all fine.
Perfect. My white's a little thick. Okay, so then all of you should have a pie plate or a paper plate. You're going to take your silo cup and you're going to turn it upside down. You're going to take your pumpkin and lay it on top, right in the middle. Okay. Then you're going to take your little bathroom cup, the little tiny one, and this is what we're going to mix in. Okay. So when we're pouring down into this cup, we want to make concentric circles. So I'm going to start with the orange because in reality, when I tip it over, that would make the orange the last one to come out of the cup. So the color that you want most showing usually is the first one that goes in the cup, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, and you guys can follow along. I'm going to go ahead and pour half my orange in. Okay, and you can see that. And then what we want to do is you can line it up however you want. I kind of like to alternate the colors. So if I do like a blue, I'll do a blue next because it's such a contrast. There are two different colors of blue. Some of you have a lighter blue and some have a darker blue, but they're all going to do about the same. Now you go right down in the middle. And again, I'm going to save a little bit because I might want to add some blue lines at the end. Okay. And then we're going to add the green right in the middle again. I'm just going to add all of that. It doesn't matter. And then I've got lots of purple for some reason. You know, that's purple. I don't think I did my purple, stirred it well enough. Okay. Now I don't want to do a lot of purple because it's pretty strong. I'm just going to do a little bit right there in the middle. And you can see that some of the colors are sinking and disappearing, and they're heavier, or they might have less oil than the other ones, or they might have less of the flood control. So this is all we're going to do on here. We don't need a lot more than this. So do you guys have any? Oh, I forgot the white. I'm sorry. And then we got to do the white, half the white. Okay. So now you're going to take your tongue depressor. Let me wipe it off. We're going to do an X, okay? Right? We're going to just go down one edge and come across and come up, and one X like that. So it's just doing a gentle mix. That's it. Okay? And then you're going to take your pumpkin like this, and you put it on top, and you go 1, 2, 3, and you turn it over like that. Okay, so then, you guys ready? Okay, so now you might, once you take it off, before it all runs off the edges, you might want to manipulate it a little bit, but here we go. Just let it go. You can shake it all out. You can roll it. Take it all the way to the edge. You can use your tongue depressor and bring it to the edge. Now what's causing these little bubbles to appear is the oil that I've put in each of the colors. And you all have a little cup of oil so that we can add more on top if we want. Okay, so I'm to the edges on all of that, but I want to bring up some green up into my stem. So I'm just going to stroke it up there. Now you can see I've lost a lot of the orange. I'm going to blow on it and see if it will come up to the surface. So hopefully you have a straw. If not, just blow with your mouth. No. Okay, so my orange disappeared. So I'm going to take my cup and I'm just going to go in lines like that. And then this little cup, it has the silicone oil in it. And I'm going to drop a few drops on top of that orange because I want to create more bubbles. Your colors already have this oil in it, but you can see it just spread. It's like a resistance kind of thing. And then I'm going to blow again. Is it hard for you to see mine? There might be some reflection on mine. So go ahead and add play around with it a little. Again, I've lost a lot of the purple. So I think I'm going to streak some purple on there. I'm going to add some white in the middle for highlight. And I'll blow this in a minute just to spread it out. If you like your original pour, don't change it at all. You don't have to be playing with it. I just didn't like some of the way it was turning out. But if you feel good about your colors, then leave it by all means. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of oil again, just on the surface. So, how's it all going?
It's going well. We're concentrating hard.
Oh, good. But you're having fun, right?
Yes.
Has anybody ever done this before? Pour poured acrylics? Acrylic pouring? No? We've done it a couple times, I think, at the library. I think during the summer we had a pouring class. But it is a very fun thing to do. It's very relaxing, and you can get into where you do big canvases of them by pouring a big cup full of paint, and just watch some of the YouTube videos. Just search for acrylic pouring instructions and you'd be amazed. So even though I kind of did lines and stuff, it just kind of goes where it wants to go. And it's going to drip off the edges and just kind of be whatever. I kind of like this cool orangey, purpley thing. So I think I'm done. I'm just going to leave it. But while I've got you, I am going to just move this to here, and I'm going to show you what I did to finish off how we'll decorate this one. Okay, so each of you should have a piece of twine. Okay, and up at the top, I just want you to do a knot kind of thing, a double, leave a loop and pull it like that. It's an overhand knot, just, and you're gonna leave it a loop there. Okay, and then you get to decide how high up you want that string to go. But you're going to turn it over, and I think I just want it about like that. So I'm going to cut these about that. And then you're going to put some glue. And you guys probably, I forgot to tell you probably to get your glue gun heated up. But you can't do it anyway because your things are wet. Now see, you've got to have the same length. And then press the string down into it. Okay, and then once that's dry, or cooled off, I should say, each of you has a piece of this velvet cording, and you can do it one of two ways. You can actually wrap it around the stem and tie it. So I'll show it to you that way. That takes up a little bit more of the cording, and I wouldn't trim any of it off. I'd just leave it like that. Or we can glue our things down and then just make a bow. So the other way is just to make a bow out of it. But regardless which way you use, you're going to take your little leaf. Hopefully everybody got one little leaf. And you're going to glue that down first. Just hanging off of there. And you either got a leaf or a branch or some sort of fall looking thing. You may have an acorn. Everybody got a little bit of a different one as far as the decoration goes. And like that. So then it just goes on there. And then I could take this bow. I don't like how off center it is. Okay. And then I'm gonna just glue it on top. I think it takes up too much of the bow to wrap it around the stem. So then I just put a little bit of glue on the back of it and press it down where that wood is glued. And that's how we finish it off, okay? Really simple. It would be cute on like a door handle. Where else could you put it? I guess on a shelf, like if you had pegs on a shelf, that kind of thing. So tomorrow, when you wake up, you're going to see that this is totally changed. And you're going to see that you the design has changed because of using that Flotrol makes it kind of keep moving with gravity, and all of it hasn't come off of the pumpkin yet. Okay, so if you work really hard to get a certain design tonight, don't be sad if it's not there in the morning. It just might have disappeared. Okay, it's just the way it is. It's not much I can say about it. Let's see. But regardless, I mean, you could actually put the lids back on your containers, and you could do a little bit of repair work if you don't like how it looks. I just put my whole fingers in there. But you can actually use the rest of your colors up if you don't like what you have, and you could try another pour, or you could flip it over and try again if you have enough color left. Okay, but that's it. Was that like the hardest craft you guys have ever done? No, but it was kind of fun, right? So that's it for the class. I'm going to, oh, and remember, if you don't want to buy the big bottle, you can just use Elmer's glue, just white school glue, and thin your paints with that and try it with that. I have not done that before, and I'm worried that it kind of would peel. You know how you can peel off glue off of things? That would be my concern, that it wouldn't seep into the wood as well as the Flotrol. But it is a way of doing it inexpensively, and I would never sell anything like that using that, because you would want a good product to sell to. If you were going to be making these to sell, you specifically, you would want something that works really well. Now, as time goes on, you're going to see bubbles appear, and that's kind of fun too. You want those bubbles because it makes kind of a cool design. So that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Repeat what the oil is for. I haven't used it, and I didn't follow you.
Oh, you didn't use it? Okay. So it's already in your paint. It's just if you want more bubbles to appear, you could actually, if I had some left over, I have some of this blue. I could if I want to add blue to this, I could add the rest of this oil. And what it does is it creates holes because it resists the paint. And so you're going to be getting, the more oil you put in there, the more holes you would get especially when you blow something. It does it that way. So does that make sense? I kind of poured it on top, but you don't have to. And pouring it on top, you know, at this point, it might be a little too solid to do anything. You might not see any bubbles, but right where I poured, there might be some bubbles that appear later. But if you look at, I don't know if you've ever seen an acrylic pouring demonstration. I know, go ahead and Google on YouTube, search for a surf or beach acrylic pour, and you'll see that they make the foam, the sea foam. You know, you can imagine the sea foam, that white curl is all spotty or like a sponge. It's got all those holes in it. And so that's made with quite a bit of the silicone in there. And so, and then they take a heat gun to it and a blow dryer, and it makes it really appear. Ours is just going to take a lot of time because we're not blowing or heating it up. But you could, if you have an embossing tool, anybody at your house, if you've got an embossing tool for scrapbooking that gives you that raised bumpy stuff when you stamp, you can try a little bit of embossing tool on this and see if the heat makes more bubbles create if you want. But that's what the silicone is for. And so I gave you some just to play with. And yeah, any other questions?
As far as the acrylics go, what kind of acrylics? Is the liquid acrylics?
I used craft acrylics. I didn't use the tube acrylics that we do for for our art painting classes. This is more of a thinner
Like folk art and
Yeah,
apple
and
barrel.
ceramic coat. Yep, yep, that's it. That's it. And plaid and what other varieties? You know, those kind of things are perfect for it. That's about the right consistency. Yeah. Now, if all you have is tube acrylics, you can go ahead and thin those down and make it kind of a half and half mixture of water and acrylic to where you've got a runny acrylic color. And then you can go ahead and add your glue or your Flotrol. And then, and remember, it's a half and half. So half paint, half white, Flotrol or white glue. That's the combination. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for that one. Okay.
Oh,
Yes, go ahead, Lindsay.
how long does it should you wait for your pumpkin to be dry? I know you said in the morning it'll be a little bit different, but like longer than 24 hours or?
Yeah, probably. So today's Monday, probably Wednesday, you could pick it up and play with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, you're not going to see a fingerprint or anything because there's so much pattern on it. And see, like my pattern right now, I don't know if you guys can see mine. It's going all the way over here. I don't know why. So, you know, you can kind of still manipulate it a little and have it. You could play with it all night until it thickens up. And see, now I have it running the other direction. So you can save, if you're losing a color off the edge, you can lift up that corner and let it go back. There's all sorts of stuff you can play with it. Again, everything's coming down flat and horizontal. See, all my orange used to be vertical stripes. And now do you see it's all horizontal because I tilted it a little. So I'm fine. I mean, it's a pumpkin and it's plaid and it's mostly covered up with a bow and a leaf and everything. But I did go back the next day. I'll tell you, I did go back and poured this turquoise and the orange over on this one. Okay. So it was really a dark, it ended up, well, I'll tell you the truth. I added black to our mix the very first time. And so it turned out a black pumpkin. And so I had to get rid of the black. And so I kind of just went over it with the orange and the turquoise again. So you can see a little of that black over here. So look at it tomorrow. Put your lids on your colors in case you want to manipulate. You know, it could be that your green runs completely off your stem and you really want a green stem. So then you've got a little bit of green to go and add to it tomorrow if you need to. Okay.